Hello and welcome back to the Football Rundown. We're back here to talk about Stockport County, of course, once again. Of course, I had the kit launch on Friday. I'll be talking about that tomorrow. I'm getting the kit myself tomorrow. Of course, Tanto Olaofe, Malik Mothersill as well coming in for Stockport County. We spoke about that all last week, and I do suspect we'll probably have one or two new signings in the door this week as well, of course, with the kit coming out. I'm actually quite surprised that the club didn't announce another signing along with the kit. I thought that would have been a good opportunity to do so, but there is a rumour that apparently we've got a few signs wrapped up ready to go and we're just set to announce them. So we'll see if there is anything to that over of course over the next week or so. I would be surprised if we ended next week without at least announcing one player. So I think we will start to see more players through the door rather than going out the door. It does feel like we've had a lot of players going out the door at the moment, but I think over the next few weeks, of course, pre-season, the season's not terribly far away as well, so I think we will start to see a lot of players come through the door, and I think that will automatically make a lot of fans feel a lot more sort of comfortable and a lot more, I suppose, less anxious. But one thing that will be making County fans potentially quite anxious is the news, the rumours around Ethan Pye, of course. Spoke about Championship interest throughout last season. I think we also spoke about potential Premier League interest from him in January. Well, now what we can talk about is, of course, there is interest in Ethan Pye from West Brom, but we also know in the last few hours there's interest from Blackburn Rovers as well. So this is what's been going on today. Of course, it is on X, it's on Twitter, so do take it with a pinch of salt. But this is coming from EFL published earlier today. Today being Sunday. Blackburn Rovers have made an inquiry for Stockport County defender Ethan Pye, 22. The asking price is currently $3 million, which is higher than what the Championship side value him at. So that's what they're saying. $3 million is not what Blackburn Rovers are prepared to pay. Now, this is another account all about League One. Again, take it with a pinch of salt. But they're saying that Blackburn Rovers have actually bid $2.5 million for Stockport County defender Ethan Pye. Multiple other Championship clubs have interest in the Hatters centre-back. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about interest, of course. West Brom, that sort of came in last weekend, and now there's supposed interest from Blackburn Rovers. One thing it doesn't take a genius to work out is that there is Championship interest in Ethan Pye, and as I say, for a defender of his quality, a left-footed centre back with the abilities he's got, 21 years of age, a young developing player with a lot of minutes under his belt over the last two seasons, in particular in the Football League. He's been a key player for Stockport County over the last two seasons, and he's played a big part in their strong defensive record. I think County had the third best defensive record in League One last season, and of course he was a huge part of that. We saw differences in our defence, the way we looked in those few games when he wasn't in the team. He's a huge difference. He has a huge impact on the team as a collective, and I just think that he's going to be a huge loss. He's going to be very, very difficult to replace. I know we've said the same about Tanto Olaofe, but you can find players like County supposedly have done with Malik Mothersill to fill in for Tanto Olaofe. But Ethan Pye, I think, is next level. I think it is an extra step up in quality. I think Ethan Pye's got a higher ceiling. I know the different positions, but if I look at Ethan Pye, I think he's got a higher ceiling of potential than someone like Tanto Olaofe, although I think I've said myself, I think he's got the ability to be a good player in the Championship and potentially, who knows, one day, maybe in the lower parts of the Premier League. With Ethan Pye at 21, 22 years of age, there's definitely a player there as well. Left-footed centre-back, that's a key point. The fact there's not many great technically gifted players who can play out from the back who are left-sided centre-backs. There's a huge demand for it. There's not many that can actually do that, and he is one of those young, emerging, developing players in the Football League who can do it, and I think at some point in the future we will see him play in the Premier League. So that's the kind of ceiling of potential we're talking about here for Ethan Pye. So of course Stockport County are going to want a good fee for him should he move on this summer. Now he's got 2 years left in his contract. That does put County in a good position to an extent, but I think you always, when a player gets the 2 years left on the contract, you do start to look at it and think, is this a player we can see tying down to a new contract in the next 6 to 18 months? Or is it a player which we think will have to move on, in which case, with 2 years left, it's the best time to cash in? There is a conversation over County because of how influential he is and because of how many players we've already seen leave the club this summer defensively. There is, I suppose, an argument to say, let's keep him for a season, let's see if we can achieve promotion to the Championship, because he might be willing to put pen to paper on a new deal if we achieve the aim of getting to the Championship by the end of the season. Now, I actually think that Ethan Pye could have signed a new deal this summer had we achieved the aim of promotion to the Championship. So it's one of those, isn't it? Do we take the risk of letting his contract go into the final year on the hope that we achieve promotion to Championship and then get him to sign a new contract? Is it worth letting him leave on a free if it means by keeping him we achieve promotion to the Championship? Or would you look to cash in now and try and get somewhere close to 3 million, which is clearly what Stockport County value him at? Now, I think there's, it's hard to say that 2 or 3 options there. I can see an argument for any of those arguments, and to be fair, my opinion on it is, as much as I love Ethan Pye, I think he's a brilliant player. I think he's, an absolute rock in that defence for us. I think you've got to look at it and think the club don't often get transfer fees or huge transfer fees in for these kind of players. I know we saw it last week with Tanto Olaofe, a record transfer fee coming in. Now, of course, Ethan Pye would eclipse that, you'd imagine. We're not used to getting these kind of big transfer fees, so I can see why it'd be tempting for the football club to look to try and accept that fee should it be close to 3 million. On the other hand, I see the argument of keeping him there, especially with so many defensive changes this summer. I'm on the fence, to be honest, but I do back the club with whatever they decide to do, as long as they manage to hold out for 3 million, because I do think there's a player there with unbelievable potential, and I think we're talking about a centre-back which, if everything goes in the direction it's looking like it could do, could be worth well more than 3 million in the future. So it's one of those, isn't it? I think there's a chance 2.5 million with sell-on clauses could also sort of represent being a good deal as well, because it depends on what those sell-on clauses are. I mean, we're talking about a player here, as I say, there's potential in him there that he could play in the Premier League. So we're talking double digits kind of numbers here. We're talking upwards of 10, 15 million potentially should he move on again. So the county would receive a huge fee in terms of sell-on clause. Let's say he went to a Blackburn or a West Brom and they achieved promotion to the Premier League, or after a few seasons he made a move to the Premier League himself in a move which is 10, 15 million. County would get a lot of money hopefully on those sell-on clauses. So there is a logic to accepting 2.5 million if the sell-on clause is involved. But I think if we're talking just outright cash, outright money, no sell-on clauses, then I think you can't really afford to be taking anything less than 3 million. I want to get people's thoughts on that though. Some people are saying, look how far we've come. We're at the point now where we're saying we should turn down 3 million for a player. It's ridiculous. I look at it and go, there's a player there with huge potential. He's the biggest asset Stockport County probably have, and I think it would be wrong of us to not try and get as much money out of it as possible. But again, it's one of those, isn't it? I know some people spoke about potentially him going to a West Brom or going to a Blackburn for around 2.5 or 3 million, and then him come straight back on loan again for a full season. Now, we've seen that happen before with players. They do sign and then sometimes go back to the previous club for a season-long loan. I just can't see it in this situation. I think if he was going to go to a Premier League team, I could see they might be more willing to sort of give him back to us for another season on loan. But I think if he's going Championship, if he's going to Blackburn or he's going to West Brom, I think they'll more likely look at it and go, let's just give him a run in the first team, or let's have him in and around the first team, because at the end of the day, that's probably quite a bit of money for them. Apparently Blackburn are not doing well financially. If they're going to fork out upwards of around 3 million, he's not just going to go straight back out on loan again. So I do think if he was going to a Premier League team, we could look at trying to get him back in on loan again straight away. I just can't see that happening with it being a Championship move. But it's interesting, isn't it, what Stockport County will look to do over the next few days. And of course, like anything, the club will be prepared for this. The club will have players in mind of who they think could well replace Ethan Pye should he go. But again, big shoes to fill, big boots to fill, and he's a great player for Stockport County, and the potential is even higher than his current ability. So it's one of them, isn't it? It's a difficult one. It's one which I think will draw criticism from many either way. It's one that I think a lot of people will be understandable of either way. I think overall, though, he's a player with great potential, and he's one of us. So I think it's going to be disappointing to see him move on, even more so in many ways than when Tanto Olaofe moved on last week, because he is local to the area. He's been a big part of it defensively, and we've seen a lot of players move on defensively already this summer. I think Fraser Horsfall, Toure, Noyle, Savin Hales, even Sam Hughes, of course, has gone on a permanent to Peterborough. So it does feel like we've lost a lot of players in that area, and it's going to be a lot to replace. It's going to be a lot to replace should he go as well. Do I see him starting on day one against Bolton in League One in just under a month from now? It's not looking great at the moment, is it? To be honest, it's not looking great at the moment. I'd like to say yes. I'd like to think so, but we'll see what happens over the next few weeks on this one. But I just want your thoughts on it. Ethan Pye, a potential move to the Championship. Blackburn Rovers, gone quiet on West Brom, but still interest there, I'd imagine. What do you think is going to happen with Ethan Pye this summer? Do you see him going, and what would you like to see happen as well? So I want to get your thoughts on that one. Don't forget to like the video, of course. Do subscribe if you are new. We will be talking about the Stockport County, the new Stockport County kit tomorrow, because I'm getting my hands on it for real tomorrow. So I want to get your thoughts on the kit as well, and I'll talk about it hopefully in the video that I'll be doing on that one. So as I say, keep your eyes out for that one. But like I say, get your thoughts on Ethan Pye. Do subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.